and Carly's sitting next to me as well.
Hi.
So Carly's going to be here with me as well. We both traveled today. Okay, so I have some pointers that I wanted to go over, and if anybody wants to speak, I have the thing where you can't unmute yourself, but if you need to unmute yourself, just comment below saying you want to unmute, and that's totally fine. I'll unmute you just to talk, because I know we had some leaders that were wanting to talk, and then they ended up having to get on the Opportunity Live, so that's completely okay. So just let me know if you want to have pointers, because we had a lot of ladies at conference and at retreat this week, and a lot of our cups are filled up. And if you weren't able to go, I hope that you have FOMO and seeing all the pictures, seeing all the videos, and seeing how amazing things like that are just really fun to be around. You want me to include you, I can. And just what like life-changing experience it is. And we always talk about leveling up your circle and how important it is, but like every single time I leave something like that, and I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about everybody here, you leave with just an open heart and an open mindset, and you come with a different perspective. And so that's kind of what I want to help you do today, and kind of get you to grasp a different idea and going into this fourth quarter of the business and seeing how many amazing things and opportunities we have a chance to grab hold to. And if you're able to, please turn your cameras on, because I hate talking to myself. I see some people with their cameras on, and if not, that's completely okay. I'm super yellow, so I'm not going to like sit here and force you to, but if you can, it's always good. If not, that's totally fine. But I'm definitely a words of affirmation chick, so you can definitely hit me up in the chat if you want. Thank you. So one thing that I wanted to start off with before is announcements. I know announcements normally are like, okay, I've heard this before, but one thing that I want you guys to know, if you did not catch this because some people were at work or you're catching the replay as you go, Morgan, that's totally fine. You don't have to be naked, so you can continue to shower. But one thing that I wanted to talk about, I don't know if y'all caught this, but for conference, we have freaking apparel now. And with the apparel, you get BV on that. So I know that they had mentioned that the scripts for like helping customers order apparel is in the Connect app. I've not looked at it yet, so I don't know if anybody is like green in here. I don't know if y'all have looked at that yet. I have not. I will get it together. I'm sure we'll talk about it on Morgan's team Zoom tomorrow. But utilize that. We'll come up with a system so you don't have to figure out everything. We'll have it already prepared for you, but that's something that's going to be huge. It's freaking cute. So you can represent your works gear and be cute at the same time. Instead of having, I don't know if you've ever been in the business before, if you were in the business a while ago, but like TBH, the clothes were not that cute, and now they're super cute, so I'm really excited about that. So that's one thing. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was Morgan commented on her page today. She posted a 4-in-1 chat, and if you want to be entered into the 4-in-1 chat, it's an accountability chat, and if you're someone who doesn't like accountability, it actually might be good for you, because it's going to hold you accountable. If you've gotten your 4-in-1, or if you were claiming your 4-in-1, can you drop a number 1 below, or drop a me, whatever it is, because I want you to install that belief in yourself and know that you can personally get your 4-in-1. I've personally completed it. I'm about to complete it again. I have a distributor signing right now, and then I'll be officially done with 2 rounds of 4-in-1. And I know that we've given you all the tips and tools necessary. So if you have specific questions about how to enroll customers, how to have conversations with the distributors, what to post, that's not this type of Zoom tonight, but we have a lot of tips and tools. So if you ever have questions about that, you can totally text me. You can text your enroller. So I won't be talking about that tonight. And then the next thing, so if you wanted to go ahead and add yourself into that, just go on Dare to Be Diamond. You should see the first thing that pops up is the 4-in-1. And if not, you can scroll down and you can see it. That's going to be really important, because if you've never been able to complete something in your life and you're like, I don't trust my like being accountable, because it honestly stresses me out. You know your limits, and you know your capacity, and you know your capability. But one thing I want to challenge you is 4-in-1 is so simple, and that's what this company is, what we shifted to do. So why count yourself out? And that kind of goes into the topic of what I was going to talk about, because if you weren't able to watch conference, Jay Shetty was seriously so freaking good. And if you haven't read his book, Think Like a Monk, it's a different type of read. It's not like a read that you normally would probably read, but in the beginning of the year, Kami Pentecost actually recommended for me and like all the VIPs, and honestly, I think it might have been diamonds and above too, to read it. And if you're not even any of that, I would really recommend you read it, because it brings you back down to a place of understanding peace, understanding gratitude, understanding what you say really matters, what you think really matters. And he just talked about the topics of, and I wrote them down, he talked about ego. He talked about morals. He talked about intentions. And that's kind of something that I wanted to speak about because me, Tara, and Carly were on the way here. And I got added into a presidential chat. And it was like me and only like 10 other presidential leaders, okay, or people who are pushing to go presidential. And we always say, hype yourself up with people who you want to surround yourself with, like make sure to level up your circle. And so we added ourselves, like we made this little group chat, and one of them was like, hey, does anybody want to have like a little team Zoom with Ashley Pfluger? If you don't know who Ashley Pfluger is, she's a presidential diamond. I'm pretty sure presidential diamond in this company. She's already completed her Christmas cash twice. And she just had some really good, like, knowledgeable tips about how to go into a conversation and take the pressure off of the conversations and stop being so focused on the scripts and what you're supposed to say. And I know we have scripts, so please hear my heart when I say this, but go buy the scripts, but also make things your own. People can tell when you're not being intentional. People can tell your intentions behind the words that you're saying. People can tell your energy. So the first thing I want to ask you is, before you go into a conversation with someone, what are you doing and what are you thinking like about that person? Are you thinking as it like, okay, I'm going to sign this distributor because she's going to help me complete my 4-in-1? Or are you actually having the intentions of, I'm going to change this person's life, and I'm really excited to hear her story because I want to connect with this person. And I can tell y'all, I signed a distributor. I want to tell Dallas. He opened that door and it's so loud. If y'all can hear his games in the background, it's because he's really loud. But I went into the conversation when I signed this distributor last week. And I went into the conversation of being so freaking intentional. And the conversation was, she swiped up on my stories because I'm very consistent with posting. And she swiped up on my stories and she says, I've been watching you for years. I'm so excited. I really think this is something that I want to get into. Can you tell me more? I, of course, went by the scripts of what we have in boards. If you don't have the boards app, please let me know and I will drop it below and I can give you all the tips and tricks with that. But I just went along with the conversation because obviously we use scripts because they work, but I use them with my own words. So, of course, I was like, hey, are you familiar with network marketing? And she was like, no, not at all. Can you tell me? And that's when I use a script of like, okay, this is what we do. It works global. We do this. We do this. Would you like more details on this? So I'm obviously telling her the basics. And she said, that actually sounds like something I would love. Then I asked her and I'm like, okay, that's awesome. So like, what could this do for you? Like, tell me a little bit more about yourself. She told me about her son. She told me about like her job currently, her situation, her financial situation, all of this. I didn't skip to the next script. I immediately sent a voice message and I was like, oh my gosh, I totally resonate with that. And guess what? If it was just, I don't have a kid yet, so I didn't resonate with that, but all the people on my team have kids. So I resonated with that. And I sat there and I had such a good talk to where it was genuine. I was like, oh my gosh, we have so many moms on our team. And I could only imagine. I watched my mom struggle for so long, so I hate seeing other moms struggle. I would love to help you. And she heard my voice and she was still skeptical. Okay, you guys. So we still had a long conversation. This conversation went into the next day. Okay. And so this lasted for 2 days until she signed. And it wasn't all business talk. It was genuinely like me trying to get to know her life. And it's going to be a little bit more time consuming. So whereas we're used to going through the scripts over and over and over again, take your time and be intentional. And before you do something, really pour into your mind and pour into yourself and say, how can I help and who can I help today and who can I help serve? I wrote down 3 questions and I think they're right here. I didn't put them on my notes in here, but I wrote them down as she was speaking on this Zoom. And these are the questions that she had. And so you could ask yourself these questions too when you're going into conversations, because I want you guys to know, feeling confident that there's only 4 days left in the month, I think. 5 days, I don't know, 4 or 5 days left in the month. And if you're like, I don't know how I'm going to do this 4-in-1, start with your intentions, start with your mindset. And the 3 questions that she had, or really 4 questions that she had to ask you was, who can I help today? So you're like waking up in the morning and instead of being like, oh my gosh, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, change your intentions and say, who can I help today? Who can I serve today? Who needs this today? And whose life can I change? And really being intentional about that is going to change your perspective, and it's going to take the pressure off of you trying to figure out your 4-in-1, you trying to sign this distributor so you can go Ruby. It takes the pressure off of that. And I promise you, I don't know what happened. And Ashley was talking about it, and actually she's going to host the Zoom tomorrow with me. So I'll ask her questions so you can ask like questions that you have specifically for her. But I just was like talking to her, and she had mentioned that when she did this, and it was literally just one little like day in between where she finally realized that she needed to change her intentions, she had a flood of people come to her. And that's when she completed her 2 Christmas like bonuses back to back. And this was like in a short time span. When I did this and I started journaling, I journaled that on our car ride Wednesday. I had that girl message me Wednesday. I had her sign up Thursday. And I had 4 potential distributors message me out of nowhere today saying, I want to know more. I want to know more. I have a girl signing literally right now because we had a conversation. It was more than just the scripts. So go with the scripts, but have your intentions so pure and so like, who can I help today? God, how can I serve someone today? It works, okay? It's not to be punny over here, but it literally works. And so I want you guys to take that pressure off of yourself and to know that you can do it. And something that I took away with Jay Shetty's talk, and it was, I can't remember if it might have not been Jay Shetty, but it was someone that was talking on the conference, so I might butcher this, it's totally fine. But what they said was, it says, wow, I'm totally butchering this. Making an impact and duplication starts with you. You have to start with yourself before you start with anybody else. So if you haven't been leading yourself, that is the first mistake and the first thing that you need to change. And I think that this could look different for a lot of people. And I had a really big breakthrough. And Jordan, I'll let you speak in just a second. Wait, can you say them one more time? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said I have something to say. Yes, I'll drop them below. I'll definitely drop them below. But I had a realization. So we had a guest speaker come to our retreat. And if you don't even know what the retreat was, a lot of us leaders got rewarded. You had to be a diamond and above to qualify, but a lot of us readers, you had a coach's pick too, but Morgan was doing a contest for 2 months and you had to get qualified for it, whatever. And so we earned this retreat. So we were here and it was people who it was a very small group and it was just truly incredible because you got to make connections. But Morgan had a guest speaker come, and the guest speaker, she used to be in It Works and she's a motivational speaker and she's a coach now. And she was just like, she just was so empowering. It was a counseling session that nobody knew that they needed, and we all needed it, and we were all crying. It was just like a moment where you're just like, oh my gosh, okay, this has changed my life. And something that she was saying over and over again was that you have to change the way that you're speaking to yourself. You have to change the thought process of when you wake up every day, and it's not going to be easy. And I want to ask you guys this. How many of you guys tell yourself a negative story every day? Can you just drop a number 2 below? And I'll go ahead and drop a 2 below too, because I'm exactly like this. I wake up every single day and I don't wake up in this beautiful headspace. I wake up and I sit there and I'm like, wow, all these doubts, all these negative things, all these fears start coming into my mind. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I could have a panic attack literally from the moment I wake up because negative thoughts just want to rule my mind. And she told me and she challenged me this. And so maybe this could challenge you guys. She said that you need to start reframing the way that you think, which obviously we've heard that from Craig Rochell's book and all the books that we listened to, but it clicked when she said it. It ultimately just changed my perspective. And I was like, okay, wow, I really do need to take her seriously. And she's like, I'm going to check in with you. I'm going to hold you accountable. I was like, I'm a good coach. I'm coachable. I'll listen to you. I'll actually do this. She challenged me for 30 days straight to fully pour into myself. And obviously I have a team of you guys, so I'm not going to not talk to y'all every day and not sit here and do the work that I need to do and not lead. But what I'm going to do is be so intentional with waking up in the morning and filling my cup so much up to where if I were to pour some out, I would still have so much left for me. And she was like, just be super intentional with speaking to yourself in the morning and talking to God and having that quiet time and just knowing what you want for the day and knowing that all the positive affirmations can come into your life and stay there. They don't have to sit here and you say one positive affirmation and then all of a sudden something happens and then your peace instantly goes away. And she challenged me to do this. And so if you don't know, I'll make this announcement tomorrow, but I'm going to pause doing the prayer chat or the prayer Zooms for a full 30 days. And it's not because I don't want to do them. It's genuinely because I feel like if I do this and I focus on me pouring into myself and just instead of pouring into so many people and not myself, it'll truly transform my life in the way that I'm thinking now. And so if you need to do that, do something like that. Wake up an hour earlier if you're someone who goes to work. But basically going back to that quote of making an impact and duplication and doing the things that you are wanting, the things that you want in life, it starts with you. And so if you feel like you're led in this life and you're not getting the things and the results that you want, ask yourself, have you been leading you the way that you wanted to? I know I had a really great talk with Jordan on here. She's spent the past couple of months soaking up so much time pouring into herself that her mindset has completely transformed. And you can talk to her about that. I'm sure you could ask her questions and she'd be super open with it. But I've seen this shift in her. And it's because she decided to take herself seriously and put herself first. And it's not selfish when you want to put yourself first. It's actually giving more people more of you when you're able to fully pour into yourself, because we all know we can't pour from an empty cup. And so I just want to ask you that, and personally ask yourself, like, what are you going to do differently? Because we can come back from conference, we can come back from retreat, and we can be so filled up. You go back to your house where it's negative, you go back to the people where you're around and it's negative, and you instantly feel drained again. So what are you going to do differently to shift your mindset? What are you going to do differently to actually complete this 4-in-1 with the right intentions and actually move forward in the business like you want to, and actually do the things that you've been called to do and that you feel like God has led your heart to do? What are you going to do differently? Or are you going to wake up tomorrow and do the same exact things that you normally do that doesn't serve you, and you're just tired of living this life, so you're on this hamster wheel and nothing's going to change? Like, what are you actually going to do? Maybe you need to put out an action plan. Maybe you need to really dive deep into personal development. Ashley challenged me to sit there in at least like 30 minutes of silence every single day and just listen to what God has for me. And if you're not super spiritual and you're like, I've never heard God speak in my life, I don't know how to do that, whatever, start with something. Pour into yourself by reading a book. Do freaking something. And if you're starting your day by looking at your phone and thinking about all the doubts that you have running through your mind of like, oh, I can't do this. Oh, I can't believe in myself. Oh, I can't sign this 4-in-1 because nobody's ever wanted to join me before. Anybody who's joined me before has sucked, or whatever, all the different situations that you've told yourself, start rewriting a different story for yourself. And she challenged me to do this. So I want to challenge y'all to do this too. And you've heard it probably a million times, but this is like an actual challenge where I have to show her proof. Sticky notes. Sticky notes, sticky notes, sticky notes. We went to Morgan's house last night and I was just like exploring her house. I had already been there before, but I just decided to go in her bathroom for some odd reason because her house is so beautiful. So I was just admiring it, and I went into her bathroom and I look up and her mirror had nothing but sticky notes covered on it. And I just started reading them and I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, she's told us to do this before, but like I really wanted to see her sticky notes. And there are Bible verses, that like truly stuck out to her. And I bet you when she wakes up every day, she actually reads them. And if you know Morgan, she's a very strong, powerful person. And I'm not saying she doesn't have bad days, but you can look up to her and be like, this girl practices personal development. This girl knows where she's headed. This girl knows what she's doing. This girl trusts in Jesus. And I genuinely think it's because she's so intentional of where her time and where her energy goes. And so I know personally, I've told y'all to do this and I haven't done it in so long. I've like skipped through personal development and just checked it off of a list just to say I did it. And I can tell that it's made a difference in the past like month of me seeing like where, not my business, but where my mindset is headed, where doubt has kind of started creeping back in. And I'm like, oh my gosh, can I do this? Can I teach duplication? Can I empower these people? Can I make a difference? And I started asking myself all these questions. And so I want to challenge you to really do that. Post sticky notes. And I would love, and this is how I'll know if people actually take this seriously, because sometimes I give people tasks on here and then I don't see people do it, which is funny because I've been that way before too. And so it's not bashing you, but it's in a sense of I can really tell who's listening if you go out and do this and then send me proof. And I'm telling you guys to do this because I have to do this with Ashley. I told her, I was like, I'm a coachable person. I'll actually do this stuff. And I told Carly before we got to the car, I was like, I'm going to come home and do sticky notes. Have I done that yet? No, but that's literally on my task list. I have it in my notes to do that. And so I want to see you guys take these in steps seriously, because I know what it's like when you get poured up on Zooms, when you feel so good, when you feel so confident, and then you step back into regular life and you feel like crap again. And it's because you haven't practiced like truly intentional personal care. You just do personal care just to check it off of a list and say, oh, I did it today. But you weren't intentional. You weren't really real about it. You didn't really care because you were just doing it just to say you did it. And so I want to see you guys. And I can tell when you guys take it seriously, because some of y'all text me and you're on fire. You're so excited. You're learning. You're so coachable. You ask the right questions. And then some of you guys complain and you're sitting here like wondering why your life or your business or whatever it's like it is. I can tell who's done personal development and who doesn't. And so that goes back to just asking the question again. So I'll say it again for the people who just hopped on. Making an impact in duplication starts with you. You have to start with yourself before you make an impact in someone else's life. And so ask yourself if you've been doing those things. And one thing that I have on here, sorry, this is like, I just basically have these all over the place. The next quote that I heard, and I don't know if y'all heard this on conference or not, but I posted it on Faith Over Fear team page as well. But it really struck out with me. Like as soon as they said it, I was like, that just hit me like times a million is, I can't remember who said it. It might have been Sherilyn Alcala, I think, but I don't know for sure. She said, oftentimes your blessings are behind the door you continue and choose to keep closing. And that was something that like really hit me in the face, because how many people are on here tonight and you feel like you've been going after this dream, or you've been going after this goal, and you keep hitting the ceiling. Every single time you keep hitting the ceiling. Can you drop a 3 if you're that way? Me. I'll drop a me or a 3. Because that's how I've felt for so long. And that was like, I felt like honestly that was like God speaking through the conference of her saying that. And when I heard that, I was like, oh my freaking goodness gracious. How many times have you been like, hey God, can you give me this? Hey God, I just really want this. Hey God, I need this. I need this. He gives it to you, but it's not in the form that you want. And you're like, not good enough. No. Or how many times have you prayed for someone to work in your business, but it wasn't your personally enrolled team member? And then you look at it and you're like, God, can you please just give me someone to work? But you have a plethora of people that are on your team. They're just not personally enrolled to you. So it's not the way that you looked. And so you're like, not good enough. Or when you look at a paycheck and you prayed for a specific paycheck and he gives you something that maybe isn't that number, but he gives you something and you're not grateful for it. And you're like, not good enough, And so I've done this so many times in my life, and I'm so sick of me doing this in my life that it caught me off guard when they said that yesterday, because it was honestly a panel that like I was kind of like in and out of for a little bit. I was just like kind of soaking it all in, and then I was writing stuff down, and then immediately when she said that, I just paused and I was like, this is life changing. And so that's something, another question you could ask yourself going into tomorrow and this next week and ending this month strong and next month is, how many times or what other blessings do you feel like you're blocking and you're praying for? And so next time you're praying for something, and next time you're asking God for something and you're having that talk with him, be very open to the amount of blessings and the things that you receive. And I've told y'all to do this, but I'll tell you again, because again, you have to repeat yourself a million times as a leader. Write down the blessings that you're receiving in your life. And I have people do this, and the people who do this seriously and take it seriously, they still text me to this day, even 3 months later after when we first started talking about this, they still text me to this day and still do it. And the amount of blessings that they've been able to intentionally see has changed their perspective. So maybe their home life isn't that great, but they receive a blessing in their business that they wouldn't have otherwise seen, because they're so intentional with seeking out that blessing and seeing what comes into their life, that their home life doesn't seem as bad to them anymore, because they see the other blessings that are flowing into their life. And this can go for so many different situations, but I just think that it could really change your mindset and perspective. And next time you're so focused on, I want to enroll someone, God, can you please bless me with someone? But you're having so many good conversations. Why don't you focus on the beautiful conversations that you're having? Because those conversations will lead to enrollments. So instead of being nitpicky and being like, God, if it doesn't look like this, I don't want it, just say, God, whatever you have planned for me, I will take it. Who can I serve today? And going back to those questions of who can I serve today? How can I help them today? Who can I make an impact on today? And how can I do that? And so just going back and asking yourself the same questions over and over and over again is really going to help you. And then I know this is kind of all over the place, so bear with me, but the thing goes back to when I was talking about duplication, how in order to create duplication and empowerment and like impact within your team and organization, you need to make it within yourself. Something that they said on the conference, and I hope that someone caught this and took notes, but it says 3 tips for duplication, which I genuinely feel like duplication and empowerment kind of go hand in hand. So I'll say empowerment too. They said duplication, I'll say empowerment. Is number 1, building relationships. So it goes back to specifically what I was talking about when you're having the conversations with your distributors, with your customers, with anybody who comes into the business, is building those relationships, talking about their life, talking about their personal experience. And if they mention, like the girl that I signed as a distributor, she mentioned her son's name, and I like got completely off topic. I wasn't pressuring her about like the actual sign up, like, hey, sign up with me now so we can get you started. I was like that in a sense, but I stopped and I paused and I was in the moment. And I was like, oh my gosh, your son's name is so, so cute. Like, how did you even come up with that name? And she told me the backstory of her name, and it was actually really significant to her. And I'm glad I asked her that. And so building relationship is super huge. So if you feel like, again, you kind of just like going through the motions and going through the conversations, stop and pause and ask those questions again. Is, how can I serve this person in this conversation? How can I make a difference in their life? And how can I make an impact with them? And stop being so selfish. And this is another thing that I told some people this weekend when they asked me questions, is I've been really praying over my selfish tendencies. And so Obviously, as humans, I feel like we're selfish by nature in a lot of ways. Not in the sense of saying like, oh, you suck, you're selfish, but we do have selfish tendencies. And I don't think that's always a bad thing. But I tend to feel like sometimes when I'm speaking to people, I come off in a selfish manner. And I'm like, wow, I really need to change this. And I actually had a really hard talk with someone like a couple months ago. And they kind of told me that. And I was like, I needed this conversation. And so it made me have a shift. And so anytime I speak to someone before I wake up or before I start my day, is I just pray over my selfish tendencies. And I'm like, God, if you feel like I'm veering off to being selfish again, veer me back towards your path and what you have planned for me, because I don't want to be selfish in this moment. I truly want to serve you and honor you and help people how they need to be helped. And so that goes back to the relationships and truly building that relationship, because that's what we're based upon. Like, that's what network marketing is, you guys, is building relationships. The second thing it says for the tips of duplication empowerment is systems in place. If we have a system for you, go off that system. You need to have a system in place. You need to have some type of plan throughout the week. If you know your workday is going to look like an 8 to 5 every single day, nothing is changing within that time. So why not set a system to wake up 30 minutes earlier or an hour earlier, or wake up on the power hours, or set 2 days a week that you know you're going to get on the power hours. Set a system in place. I'm not even green. I literally tested 7% green. I'm not green. Okay. And I told myself I was going to get more green, and I think that's just probably a New Year's goal for next year, because it has not happened. But one thing is set systems in place, okay? If you feel like you're having a bunch of conversations and you aren't seeing the enrollments that you want, again, check your intentions behind it. But another thing is ask your enroller. Send screenshots. Send the conversations that you're having, and I bet you we could find ways to where we see you kind of going off script, which again is reasons why we have scripts. Scripts work. It's not because it's not genuine. It's literally just because we're like saying, hey, this works. Have a system in place. What we have works, and that's why I'm so freaking thankful for this 4-in-1 system, is because the system is duplicatable. The system is simple. The system is easy. It's not supposed to be hard. So if you're overcomplicating it and you feel like you're overwhelmed, ask your enroller or ask a question in this chat and I'll answer it for you. But chances are, if you're so overwhelmed, you're overcomplicating it. And that's why we have systems. I think systems are a beautiful thing because it means it's duplicatable for the masses. It'd be a lot harder if we didn't have anything in place and we were like, hey, just do whatever you can. Just go find people. But instead, we give you systems. So use those systems. And then a third thing is, oh, that was you like touching me. And then the last thing it says on the duplication and empowerment aspect is setting small goals. So I talked to so many of you guys, and I've done this myself, and please don't make the mistake of doing this over and over again. Is I've set such big goals for myself, and I don't set small ones along the way. So if that big goal doesn't happen by the date that I have planned, I get very disappointed and very discouraged and very angry very quickly. And I don't know if I get mad at, I start projecting my anger upon my team. I start projecting my anger upon God. I start projecting my anger upon everybody else because I get so angry that I didn't reach it at that amount of time. And the small goals take off the pressure of the big goals. The small goals allow you to enjoy the process, and the small goals allow you to see the little baby wins that count. And so many of you guys are so focused on the big goals. Oh my gosh, I want to go diamond in the next 30 days, but you're not even an executive. I love the aspect of you wanting to go diamond and shoot for it. I love big goals, but why not you say every single week I'm going to do this, or I'm going to prove to myself that I can be consistent for 6 days straight every single week. And every single week I'll start over with a new system in place to know that I can keep myself consistent. Whatever it might look like, set small goals. So I'm going to read something off to you guys because let me see. Sorry, these people are texting me and now it's in the way. I made a dream board, and I made a new dream board because the older one wasn't speaking to me. And also the older one had way bigger goals on it to where I see now it was not attainable right now. Okay. I said on my last dream board that I had on my phone that I wanted 10 personally new diamonds by December. In this season, in this moment of transition, I think it could be possible, but that's taking the focus off of what I really want, and what I really want is duplication and for people to be empowered to be able to do it themselves. So I took that off. Another big goal of mine was to have $100,000 in savings. You guys, I'm not even close to that. Okay, I'm not even close to that, but but I just paid off my wedding in cash. So like, of course the smaller goals are a blessing, but when I focus on the big goals, I'm like, I'm not even halfway there. Like I feel discouraged. And so I took that off and I made it into smaller goals. So like, I'm just going to show y'all a little bit, and so y'all can think about doing these things, and so y'all can hear my different smaller goals, so you can see it doesn't always have to be the big ones. So one of them was to make a 30-day commitment to refocus and shift my mind, which was what I was just talking about, stopping the prayer Zooms for 30 days and fully refilling my cup up. Start investing $1,000 monthly, sponsor 2 kids in Children's Cup and give back 10% more, Hawaii trip of summer of next year. So that's like next year, that's a little bit bigger goal, but that's still doable. Have 3 new Rubies promote on my team. Entire team go to conference next year. Start where is it at? Start hiring a personal trainer. Another one is, do you want that? Yeah. Another one is Talk at Conference at 2022. Another one is $10,000 monthly income. Another one's Christmas cash times 2. And so you'll see all of these aren't money driven goals. Another one's just dream house, start construction and savings with that. And then another one is start multiple streams of income. Another one's just like have fun with the thrifting things that I want to do. So like there's a lot of different ones that I have on here that aren't just financial. So if you have nothing but financial, that's not bad. But what if you're not financially where you want to be right now? Don't be discouraged at that. Make smaller goals, make obtainable goals, make your 4-in-1 happen. How are you going to make that 4-in-1 happen? Set smaller goals, have 10 conversations a day, have 10 good quality conversations a day, send voice messages with every single thing that you do. Be intentional. I don't freaking care. Make goals for yourself, because if you're not setting goals along the way, how do you even know where you're going? How do you even know where you're headed? You don't have direction or clarity on where you're going. So if you decide to sleep in a day or sleep in for a week, you don't really feel bad because you're like, well, I don't really know where I'm headed anyway, so I guess I'm just going to make another day of excuses, you know? And I see that so often. So make obtainable goals. And I promise you, when you do that, it'll help. And so we did like a book swap. Again, I'm switching gears so many times, but it's fine because that's normally how I am. Again, not green, so not organized, but it's fine. So we did this thing at conference or at the retreat where we all wrote like a little cute note inside the books, and we traded books. And so I had never had this book before, but Jenna gave it to me, and it says, Be Obsessed or Be Average. And something on here, it was talking about winning. And that's kind of what I'm going back to and referring to, is focus on the wins that you have, and the smaller wins lead up to bigger wins. And so it says, don't forget, what you're obsessed with will become a reality. If you're obsessed with money problems, you'll always have money problems. If you're focused on understanding what money means to you positively, you'll always figure out how to get more of it. And then it goes into telling him his life stories and like what happened or whatever. But question about this, and this can like, you know, you can answer it in the chat, you can answer it to yourself, but like, what is the most thing that you're commonly focused on? And ask yourself, whatever you're focused on, do you not notice that that normally happens? And I can tell you from personal experience from the past, I used to be so obsessed with focus on who wasn't working on my team, that seems like what I was like going in a hamster wheel with, is only seeing the people that kept quitting or kept leaving or people who weren't working. And I still catch myself in this trap, you guys, and I have a wonderful team. Y'all are all amazing. I still catch myself in this trap. And then I read that today and I was like, snap. Okay. Like that really hit me, because it's not just that. There's so many different aspects. Like, how many of you guys continue to think about how broke you are? And that's all you freaking see. Or how many of you guys keep thinking about how overweight you are, or how much you don't feel good about yourself, or how ugly you are, or whatever you speak over yourself? Again, we're going to reshift those thoughts, but like, how many times do you think those negative thoughts? And then that's what happens. It's because what you think about most happens. You manifest it into your life without even manifesting it on purpose. And so that's where, again, it comes back to the intentionality. Whenever you come to me or your leader this week, I want you to be so intentional with saying something positive. Whenever you look in the mirror, and this is something that Ashley told me to do, is to wake up in the morning, and this is going to feel weird, but it's going to be new, and we know we don't grow inside our comfort zones. Look in the mirror and tell yourself actual positive affirmations. Whatever your mind is thinking, just ignore it. So like, maybe you wake up in the morning, you look at yourself in the in the mirror and you're like, I'm so overweight, I look so ugly. Okay, you can sit there and think it all day long, but what you're going to do is the opposite. You're going to say, I'm just so beautiful. And it might sound weird, you guys. Every time I look at my mirror and I say I'm beautiful, I'm like, wow, I feel kind of cocky. Like, I feel kind of full of myself, but it's not in that intention. It's genuinely just because I want you to train your mind to say the good things about yourself, the good qualities you have about yourself. And this is another thing that I noticed is, I don't know if y'all saw, I don't have it, it's in the other room. I don't know if y'all saw, but we had reverse gossip, and we did this at conference this year. So if you were at conference this year, you know, but we did reverse gossip. And what we did was we had posters out. We had the picture of the poster. We had a picture of ourselves on the poster board, and we passed it around, and everybody had to write something positive about that person that they thought. Then we gathered them and we read them out loud, which some people are like, that would make me throw up speaking in front of people. But it was genuinely an aha moment, because the most insecure things that you think about in your life, or like the things that you see of yourself that you feel like you're the biggest, like just about yourself, is the best qualities that other people see in yourself. And it's pretty crazy to see, and it's just really insane, because someone complimented me. I can't remember what they freaking complimented. I think, they were complimenting me about like my thickness, about like, if you've never met me in person, you know I'm thick, but like if they were complimenting me about my body, and they said, your body is just so well proportioned. You look so good. And I was like, it was genuinely a shock, because if you do know me, you know I'm very insecure about my legs. Like, I hate my legs. And she was like, your legs look so good, girl. They look so freaking good. And I was just like, it's so funny what I see every day, people see opposite of. Or how many times do you look at yourself and you're like, my eyes are not the color I want them to. People come up to you and they're like, your eyes are so beautiful. Literally, it doesn't matter what it is, but it just makes you think, like, I can tell you 99% of the things that you think about yourself, people don't need to see, they don't notice. And even if they did notice, like, who freaking cares? Because we all know that like the judgment of God is the only thing that matters. But in reality, we know that stuff still bugs us. So like, seriously, what do you notice about yourself? Whatever negative things you notice about yourself, I want you to change the script of yourself this week. And this isn't something that I'm like, okay, you could do this. I'm like actually asking you to do this, because I'm personally doing it. I'm so sick of telling myself the negative story over and over and over again. I'm so sick of waking up and checking my phone and thinking, I wonder who's going to quit today. I wonder who's going to send me a negative message today. When I send host post message, I wonder who's not going to reply. I'm only going to focus about the positive things. And I promise you, I'm going to tell y'all testimonies along the way, because I'm challenging myself to do this. I'm going to get such good feedback that I'm going to be transformed in 30 days. And I'm claiming that over myself. I don't even know what's about to happen. I just know I'm going to be transformed, and the renewing of my mind is going to be so powerful. It's going to be amazing. It's going to affect my relationships in a good way. It's going to affect my business. It's going to affect my leadership. It's going to affect everything about me in all good ways. And so I really want to challenge you to do that, because I'm so freaking tired of seeing people come into this business and doubt themselves. Because we all know, if the systems are set in place, like the 4-in-1, it's a system. It's supposed to work for the masses. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and I don't mean doing it every now and then, I mean consistently, what we do takes work. That's literally how it goes. But I would rather do this work than go to an 8-to-5 job for the rest of my life for 40 years straight and hate what I do. I would rather do this empowering work and making an impact like I feel like we do, and work a little bit harder for the life that I want. And that's what I've been able to do. And I want you guys to experience that too. But I can't force you guys to do this. Amber can't force you to do this. Andrea can't force you to do this. Your leaders can't force you to do this. You can only be the person that empowers you to do so. And that's like where it goes back to. And I'll repeat it again, because it's just so dang good. It says making an impact and duplication, which starts with you. And you have to start with yourself. You have to start with your freaking self. And if you've not been putting yourself first, and if you've not been putting your mindset first, I don't want to hear one excuse from you that this business isn't working. I don't want to hear one excuse from you that you haven't gotten your 4-in-1. I don't want to hear one excuse from you that you feel a certain way. You can feel your feelings for so long, but one thing I want to challenge you is to know that you can feel those feelings, but you can also combat those feelings by sitting here and challenging yourself to do personal development, pouring into yourself, doing the things necessary, surrounding yourself with these type of people in this business, because we believe in you. Borrow my belief if you genuinely don't believe in yourself. I haven't believed in myself for so long, but because I had Morgan as a friend and as a leader, she's grown me into this person and molded me into this person, which obviously other people have too. But like, she's helped me see the capabilities that I have along the way. And I want you guys to know that and feel that empowerment. And I just don't want to see another day go by where someone's looking at their chart or looking at their phone and looking at their business and being like, how am I going to be able to do this? And one thing that Mark said on, okay, it might have been Mark, might have been Cami. Again, I'm getting really lost in these conversations, but they're all so good. So just take away with that. But on the FaceTimes that we had with them, one of them was saying, you don't have to know the how. You just have to know that you can do this and that you have to know that change is good. That was Cami. Okay. Thank you, Gamer. That change is good, change is expected, change is going to challenge you in new areas where you've never been challenged before, and it's going to help you grow into even a more better person than what you are now, and to not know the how of everything. And I know I'm really guilty of asking people and asking myself, asking God, how am I going to do this today? How am I going to do this today? How am I going to make this possible? How am I going to help this person become the best version of themselves? And I ask myself that, and that's when the doubts start rolling in, because I don't know the how. I just know the do. I just know that I need to do this in order to get to where I'm going. And so I just think that a lot of us need to take off the how question and really start focusing on those little bitty things along the way, with the duplication and empowerment, with building relationships, systems in place, setting small goals, and focusing and refocusing on the things that matter most, which is obviously filling our mind. So I really hope that was really helpful. This is, again, a side note because I forgot to mention in the beginning. I have a vision and I have a dream, and I wrote it out on my dream board on my phone, so y'all heard this, but I have a vision for our team to be at conference in 2022. They announced winter conference, and I know there are actually a lot of pregnant people on our team though too who are having babies, so this is going to look a little bit different. But for the majority of people, I would love to see our team be there at Winter Conference 2022. I have it a goal to be able to speak on stage at 2022, and I'm going to manifest that now. And I would love to see other people manifest that. If that's something you want, if that's not something you want, that's okay too. So I really would love for us to, I'll start booking stuff in December. But I would love for our team to show up and be there. And I would love for our team to show up and earn the Christmas cash. I would love to see our team show up and earn the 4-in-1. So starting tonight, I don't care whatever stories you've told yourself. I don't care what lies you've heard. I don't care who's been telling you in your room that you can't do it. I don't care what past experiences you've had with the business or life or whatever. I want you to tell yourself that you can do this and that you have every single intention of having your intentions be reset tomorrow and reset tonight, and know that you can do everything possible, because I'm just so sick of seeing people live the limited lives of like thinking they can't do it or whatever. It's so stupid. And I'm talking to myself when I say this, because if you know me, you know like how many limiting beliefs I've let come into my mind a lot of times. It's just, I'm over it. Like, I'm just like, it doesn't serve me anymore, you know? And I've been able to accomplish the things with the limiting beliefs. So I can only imagine what I'm going to be able to accomplish and what you guys are going to be able to accomplish when you just wipe that clean slate and just say, I'm going to do this dang thing today. And so with that being said, like, I just would love to see our team win. And in order for you to speak at conference, they did say you have to complete your 4-in-1. So if that's something you ever want to manifest into your life, I would love to see you guys claim whatever it is that you want to claim. Be really, really loud on your stories. Be really loud of where you're headed. Be really loud of where you're going in this business. Say that you've earned your 4-in-1. If you haven't earned your 4-in-1, you guys, we still have 4 days left. We still have 4 freaking days. So much can happen, but set that intention and just speak life over into your life that you're going to make the things happen, and watch the magic genuinely just roll into your life. Like, actually. And so we'll talk more about that tomorrow when I interview Ashley on the team Zoom for Morgan's team Zoom. But the questions, if you have any questions for her specifically about intentions, that's what I really want her to talk about, but she'll talk about other things too. If you have any questions, you can kind of get the ball rolling on that. If you have any questions for me right now, if anybody wants to speak or ask questions or say anything, you can. Amber, did you want to add anything? I know that you hopped on. Okay, I'll unmute you.
Okay, So I don't know what you said in the first 20 minutes of this, so I'm sorry if I'm going to repeat it, but it's okay if you repeat it because you can hear it from one person and get something different from another person. So what I wanted to talk about was the self-limiting beliefs, what Macy was kind of talking about after I hopped on, which was good. And those self-limiting beliefs come from somewhere. So like when Ash came to our retreat, we literally wrote down all of our self-limiting beliefs. And I want you guys to do this exercise. Yes, it's not going to be around a bunch of people or whatever, but write down your self-limiting beliefs and really dig into where they're coming from. Okay, they're coming from somewhere. It could be your childhood. It could be something that happened in this business. It could be anything. And literally, I wrote down stuff that I was like, oh, like, did I really believe this about myself? Like, and it wasn't like it was a subconscious thought, you know what I mean? But then we talked about, and literally everybody in the room was crying. It was a huge counseling session, and like it was like so many breakthroughs happened just from that. So really just dig into, like, one of mine was, I'm ungrateful for things. And I wrote that and I was like, whoa. Like, I write my gratitudes every single morning, and it was just something that was just subconsciously in my head. And it was something that my mom used to say to me all the time as a kid, because we didn't have a lot. And I always wanted things, like I wanted more, and I can't have that conversation with her now. And I think that hit me so hard, and it was something that needed to be brought out. And I know that's like me say it's like a counseling thing, like I'm not like trying to be like that, but I'm just saying, because what our self-limiting beliefs are from our past are affecting our future, are affecting our now, are affecting our business, are affecting our paycheck or whatever. Like Macy had a lot of money blocks. So does Morgan. Like all of these people had different things that are affecting their business now. Macy, freaking lights. Right. Anyway, so I just wanted to say that, because I think that's really important, is to, yes, you have your self-limiting beliefs, but know where they're coming from. Is it something that people have said to you your whole life? But also know that they're not true. And what Macy said, like with these poster board things, like I'll literally like show you like what we did, so you can get a concept, is like we wrote down, like everybody wrote stuff about like me, and like what I saw as my biggest weaknesses on that paper, everybody saw as my biggest strengths. So just believe, surround yourself with other people, like in the business, get into the chats, interact with other people that aren't on your team, like on your downline or whatever. Talk to people on Morgan's team, level up your circle. Like that's going to change the game for you so much, because just being around people at retreat and conference, it literally changes your whole entire mindset. You have so many breakthroughs. You're getting compliments all the freaking time, like all day long. Like it's crazy, like what Macy was saying about like her body being proportionate, and like people are like, I love your eyes, and like they're like, oh, you look amazing for being pregnant, when I think I look and feel fat. Like, you know what I mean? My husband's shaking his head, he's like, no, you don't. But just really dig into those self-limiting beliefs of like where they're coming from, because that's the root of the problem. Get to the root of the problem, but also know that they're not true. And right next to your self-limiting belief, write the truth about yourself. Like really dig into the truth. So like for me, it's like I'm ungrateful, but then next to it, I'm going to write something that's saying I am grateful for all of these things. You know what I mean? So journal, do that personal development. And then another thing that I just really wanted to say really quickly about the Christmas cash bonus, and I said this on the Zoom on Monday night, but if you weren't on, journal about what that $3,500 is going to do for you. Not just, oh, $3,500 being deposited in my bank account. That's awesome. I love $3,500. Like that's a huge amount. That's thousands of dollars that I didn't have before. No, what is it truly going to do for you? Okay, because I think that's important. because you're going to be motivated and disciplined, which I don't really like those two words, but to go after that more. You know what I mean? Like you're going to be like, if $3,500 is going to give, like for us, it's going to give Harper the best freaking Christmas ever. It's going to pay off more debt so that we can raise our credit scores to get better interest on the house we build next year. Like all those different kind of things, like that's huge for me. So I'm like, okay, I'm going after it twice. Like I'm not going after it once, I'm going after it twice, because that's how motivated I am to go after this. You know what I mean? But also have a feeling behind it. Like the feeling that I feel when we're going to sign that contract on building our house with a great, even greater credit score and like the best interest ever. Like I'm attaching myself to that feeling, and that's why I send out messages every day. That's why I'm having genuine conversations to people, bringing people into my team. That's why I am truly like building that relationship with my distributors so that they get their 4-in-1 too. So just attach yourself to a feeling of that Christmas cash bonus.
I like feel like I don't have anything else to say after that, because that was just so freaking good. Yeah, I would love to see people earn and claim that they're going to earn this a lot more. Like I see so many limiting beliefs where I'm like, hey, are you gonna go after this? And I'm like, I don't really know. Why freaking not 5,000 freaking dollars and then doing it again if that's something you want to do? Like I know I want to complete it twice. Like that is a game changer. And if you've ever doubted yourself before, like why? Like at this point, why? Even if you haven't ever signed a customer in your freaking life, like there is no reason to doubt yourself anymore, because again, the systems in place are meant for you to win. This company, Mark, Cami, all those people, Morgan who sets out the boards, me, Amber, anybody on here, we want you to win. And so whenever you start feeling that type of doubt, text your doubts to your leader or text your doubts to me or whoever, and combat that with people saying, no, you can do this. You can borrow their belief, And so I've had texted Morgan, and I even talked to Morgan at the freaking retreat where I was giving her my doubts on like my leadership abilities or whatever. And she just kept combating it with like, but why do you think that? And I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, stop telling yourself that. And I'm like, you're so freaking right, And sometimes it's just as simple as that shift, and it might take over and over and over and over again to be able to truly make that change. Do it for 7 days and 6 days and make the change and see the difference of what it can make in your life. And I want to see more people win. And I know with this new system set in place with the 4-in-1, and figuring out what that Christmas cash is going to do for you, whose life do you want to change? And Jordan, I set the questions below so y'all can copy those questions and repeat those questions to yourself every day. I've been doing it every single day since Wednesday, so only a couple of days, but like I said, I've just had people flood to me who have actually wanted to change their life and like, hey, I really want this opportunity. I need it for my kids. I really want this opportunity. I've been like, let's go, and it's really exciting. And so I just want y'all to feel that win. I want y'all to feel that excitement. I want y'all to feel that vision. I want y'all to feel all the things, and I want y'all to see y'all at conference. And go ahead and get your conference ticket if you can today. Go ahead and get it. If not, you can pay by commissions, and your commissions will come out on October 15th, and so it'll pay through commissions then. Get your conference ticket, because what you get with the conference ticket, you get the it's like the not virtual tour. It's something tour. What is it? Road tour. So you can choose which cities you get to go to, and you get access to that.
Road Rally.
What, Road Rally? I think that's
maybe.
what it's called. I think that's what it's called. Let me see the comments. Road Rally. Perfect. Yes. And so you get to choose those. And I know that I've literally got my conference ticket. So now that I have that, I'm going to the Nashville one. And the Nashville one's only like 3 hours away from me, and I get free access. So when you get your conference ticket, you get a lot of different perks with it. And so you can look up that on eSuite. But make sure to get that conference ticket and just go ahead and say, I can do this. And if you're someone like, I can't even afford to pay for my diapers, much less a conference ticket, make a fast start. Help someone join your team and make a fast start and pay for it. That's all you have to do. That's literally all that you have to do. Okay. Stop overcomplicating it. We do have the family call, so I will